Sometimes the world looks like you ain't ever seen it before. Stuck behind never-ending windows, all you need is a door. Searching for something to put a smile back on your face. Just remember, in unusual times, it can come from an unusual place. You need a partner for the ride, 'cause everybody needs a Clyde. So set your worries to the side. Just ask, say the word and I'll be there. Just ask, you know the greatest things in life all come in a pair. They say hindsight's 20/20, but that ain't far enough behind me. So if you want the sweetest honey, I think hindsight's 1990. There's no need to pretend I got a hand I can lend, 'cause when you really need a friend, just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.
Are you ready to slay another day? So are we. Welcome back to Shit 90 Shows Taught Me. I'm Jess Sterling here with my co-host, Sara Fergenson. Sarah, how are you?
Jess, I'm doing really well. I just got back from a little shopping trip at my local boogity store. It went real good. I dropped $500 on a very fragile crystal ball. It's going to get your soul back. You're not going to be a heartless wench anymore.
Oh, that's too bad, because it's the lack of a soul that makes me interesting.
I don't know about that.
We're here talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 2, Episode 17, Passion. And it is quite the episode. Massive death this episode. I mean, I don't know why I'm giving a spoiler warning. People know what's going on.
Yeah, this
Massive
show is
death.
like 30 years old, and we are
Yeah.
we're
the only ones who
behind.
don't know anything about it. Yeah,
We're the only ones now.
we're the last to know.
First and foremost, remember last week when I was like, I think I know a spoiler? This was it. That was the spoiler, that Jenny Calendar died. So that was it. That was my...
You know everything that happens in every show we cover.
I said that this was the last thing I know.
How do you know? How did you? Okay. Let me introduce our guest, and then we're going to come back to this, because I can't keep him waiting to dig too deep into this yet.
Is it Mel Gibson?
Thank God, no.
Okay.
Today we're joined by our very good friend, Tom. Tom, how are you? I can see that you're upset based on the fact that your username today is Rip Jenny. Very upset.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of expected like we were going to start the podcast with your new Sad Felicity music.
I'm so sorry. We can. Okay, hold on.
Calder, also known as Yana of the Calderash clan, who bravely gave her life trying to find a spell to save Angel's soul, and she did manage to find it and save it onto a floppy disk. But will the floppy disk ever be found?
All that remains is the floppy disk. Tom, thank you so much for joining us today. Now, Sarah, back to the spoiler. How did you get spoiled on this? Did you Google Jenny Calendar? Like, what did you do?
Yes.
What?
Don't Google character names, Sarah. Why are you Googling it?
Do you see, Tom? Do you see what I put up with every single week? Like, this is why we do need to eventually go on video for these podcasts, because if people could see my physical, my head is like nearly exploding. Like I'm the cartoon character with the steam coming out of its ears. Why is my question? Why did you Google? Why did you type Jenny Calendar into Google?
I think I wanted clarification on her ancestry, or it was a classic, like, is she ever coming back? Something like that.
And I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Do we not have enough friends that have seen the show that could answer that question?
I mean, That's a good question. I mean, I do have plenty of people that I know that have watched the show that could clarify these things. It's a compulsion, you know?
I think we're gonna need, because I really like adding these little sound clip things to our background here. And Tom, what do you think of the idea of me adding the Game of Thrones like shame, so that anytime Sarah's like, yeah, I was spoiled on this and I knew this, I could just play the shame for her.
I think that's good. Now, Sarah, there was a previous podcast where you said, "Oh, I think Jenny Calendar might die." Were you spoiled when you said that, or was that an honest prediction?
When did she say that? I don't even remember.
It was a while ago. It was earlier in the season.
Okay. I don't think that I because I'm pretty careful with Jess that I don't reveal these things. So I'm pretty confident that could have been like a genuine prediction, but who can really say? I mean, I guess I could, but
now this is the last spoiler on both Felicity and Buffy that you know.
Yeah. I mean, like, besides the fact that like I know of like actors in Buffy that are coming in the future that are like well known.
Oh, well, that's just like
Buffy,
pop
like,
culture knowledge. Yeah.
For example, like I know like Michelle Trachtenberg is going to be on the show. I know Eliza Dushka Blues is going to be on the show. Like I know like
is that her name?
Eliza Dushka Blues. Douche-shoes.
It's just Dushku.
Douche-shoes.
You just really want to call her a douche.
I don't know.
No, that's her fucking name.
You're adding like a blues in there. You're like Dushka Blues, and there's no B part of it. Well, you're just
like
adding
a children's show.
Yeah, I might know like a coupling, but like I don't know like concrete things that is happening.
Yeah. The other thing is Sarah has said a couple things that she knows that Jess has forgotten.
Yes,
but yes, like Sarah admitted them.
Yeah,
wait,
but like
what?
I did that like the pre.
Yeah, in the pre.
Oh, she said like, oh, I know this and this about Buffy, and like I have no idea because as soon as the podcast is over, it's completely out of my brain.
Right,
got it.
And
right.
actually,
it's purely because it's like a pop culture phenomenon, and that's like, you know, I mean,
yeah, it's not a plot specific thing. It's more of like, oh, of course I know this actor was on the show at some point.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, moving on from that.
Yeah.
We have a lot to get into this episode. First of all, Tom, how are you? We haven't had you on since season 1. How are you feeling about season 2? I can't remember. Are you the one who season 2 is your favorite, or is it season 3?
Neither is my favorite. I
never mind. That's just like everyone's favorites are 2 and 3.
No, it's a popular thing. I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, Buffy's a high school show. Once they're out of high school, it goes downhill. That's a fairly common thing, but I disagree. My favorite seasons are either 4 or 6.
Oh, okay. So that's good. We got time.
But season 2, it's good. Trying to think how I would describe it. I think it's a very peaks and valleys of a season. Very there's like this episode and I think Innocence, possibly another one, are like in my top 10, but then there's also episodes that are just garbage.
I've been told that Go Fish is one of the worst episodes, and we still have to hit that this season too. So
there's already fish in this episode.
They're dead fish. Yeah, maybe they're gonna need live fish.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
no.
You'll see when you get there.
More dead fish.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. This episode is interesting because it starts off with like an Angel voiceover, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like this is the first time this has happened on the show. It gave me big Felicity vibes.
For me, it gave me big like Batman. Like Batman loves
I am the night.
Yeah, he loves a monologue to the camera, or like to his audience. So to me, it just felt very Batman.
Yeah.
Is he,
especially because he's creeping around the corners like a little weird. Like I feel like that's what Batman does too.
Yes.
And he only comes out at night. Is Angel secretly Batman?
I think so. I think that we sorted it out. This is another spoiler that I came across. And I'm sorry for revealing my secrets that I know everything.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, Angel is clearly the inspiration for Edward Cullen in Twilight, who was played by what's his face, who then
Robert Pattinson,
who then goes on to be Batman. So
it's all connected.
Yeah, there's definitely a connection.
I'm
going to get so flamed for saying what's his face, aren't I?
I don't think so.
Who cares about Robert Pattinson? He's kind of irrelevant now, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if there's Robert Pattinson stans anymore. His wife or girlfriend, baby mama, is very cool though. Suki Waterhouse. She was in Daisy Jones and the Six.
Ooh, was she the blonde musician?
Yeah, the drummer. Yeah, she's really cool. She has like one of my favorite songs of the year. It's called Oh My God. It's so good. Or OMG. Love that song. And they have a baby.
Lovely for them. So happy for them. Is it a new baby or is this old news?
No, I think it's this year.
Okay. Well,
this year's baby.
So Angel's being a creep. What else is new, right? He's creeping around the bronze. And for a second, Tom, for a split second, I was like, oh my gosh, oh no, Buffy is doing the sexy dancing with Xander again. Because of right?
Yeah. I was like, I thought because last episode, I thought Xander and Buffy were done. I thought, because in my memory, I was like, I don't think there's anything. But then this episode, I turn on, they're dancing, and I'm like, Buffy, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This is like when I was in school, the school dance, my one guy friend, we had sexy dances, but he just did it to pity me, you know? Buffy is sexy pity dancing with Xander.
But he has a girlfriend now. He doesn't need a sexy pity dance.
Oh, I forgot about Cordelia.
Yeah.
For a split second.
I mean, listen, I have to give credit to Cordelia. Like, if she is not bothered by the Buffy Xander sexy dance, then that's totally fine. And like they do leave. It's like they're leaving as a foursome with like Xander and Cordelia like coupled up, whatever. Angel's creeping around the corner, sucking some lady's neck. It's wild to me how many randos we've seen Angel kill since he became Angelus.
It's so much fun.
He kills so many people. It's great. Like Tom, I don't know if this is a spicy take. It probably isn't. I don't need Angel ever to come back. I'm here for all Angelus all day.
Yeah. So I've said it before. I watched Angel the series first.
Why?
Because it was more targeted towards guys, and he was like, "I'm going to watch the guys show."
Oh, he was like, "I need to watch the Manly Man show." Got it.
I don't even think this is a spoiler. They were also on different networks by this point.
That's weird.
Yeah, Buffy at one point does change networks. It goes to the UPN. Well,
UPN, the home of America's Next Top Model for many years.
Well, Angel remained on the WB. Buffy started on the WB, and then I think season 6 it goes to the UPN. Well, Angel remained on the WB. It was very weird, but I was more of a WB watcher. But then after I'd finished Angel, I was like, well, I actually want to see like how this all started, and so I went back to watch Buffy, and this was the arc that was basically like, yeah, this is why I wanted to watch from the Angel show, because Angelus is like probably the best villain on Buffy, at least that's
above Spike and Drew Lulu.
As a
they're
villain,
not long for the world.
As a villain, I think because
I mean, God. That's a tough time for us.
Spike is doing nothing but bitching and moaning. He is not a villain. He's
ill and he's a little baby who there was someone else pissing in a circle around his girlfriend and he doesn't like it.
I think Spike's an opportunist. I think that he's like, I don't think that he's really that evil. I think that he's a whiner, which I can relate to. Game sees game. I think that Drew she's just fucking batshit crazy. Like, they're not big villains. They're like, they're bad, but like they haven't done anything. They've literally been in Sunnydale for like,
do we not
9
remember
months
the judge?
Now?
Do you remember them assembling the judge?
It came from nothing. They've done nothing. They are failures as evil people. They don't even turn anybody. They're just fucking around, hanging out in their basement apartment, adopting Shih Tzus. That's it.
So actually, some trivia behind the scenes, because James Marsters, who plays Spike, does like a lot of Q&As. He goes to conventions. He talks about being Spike a lot. And he has said that his original arc was supposed to be much shorter. And the original plan was Spike was going to be this villain causing all this trouble. And then when Angel turned into Angelus, he was just going to kill Spike. And that was going to be like, ooh, I'm the big bad now. But fans love Spike so much, so they kept him around in the wheelchair.
Okay, Spike has to get out of the wheelchair, because I got to tell you, my tolerance for Spike and my appreciation for him went down. When Drew was sickly, she at least was like, oh, look at this flower. It's so inspirational.
So you want Spike to have an interesting affectation to the way he speaks?
No, I just need him to get out of the fucking wheelchair and fuck some shit up.
He's
That's what I need him to do.
injured. Okay.
Anyway. I don't care. He's been sick for too long.
Angel's being a creeper.
Stem cell healing and call it a day.
I feel like he could suck some blood. Like, I don't know if it works this way like it does in other vampire shows, that if he sucks the blood of a vampire, it'll like help cure him quicker. I feel like if he just did a little like Drululu sucking, then like that would help him out a little bit, you know, like share the wealth, Drululu.
Do you think that they have blood? Do vampires have blood in them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because when they turn humans, what they do is they let the human drink some of their blood, and then
right.
It's like a blood sharing thing. Yeah, the wheelchair is, again, because the original plan was for Spike to die. The wheelchair is sort of we're keeping him alive, but we don't know what to do with him.
That's what it feels like, honestly. Because it just feels like we're biding time.
Because having seen all of Buffy and all of Angel, I will say we will never see a vampire get injured, so they need to be in a wheelchair again. That's just it's like I've seen vampires fall off of like skyscrapers and be like, oh yeah, I'm fine, I'm a vampire.
Yeah, he is healing very slowly.
Yeah.
Which makes me think, like, is he just doing it for sympathy? Like, he's like, oh, Drew, look at me. I can't, look at me. I need help.
It's like, I've fallen. I can't get up. I need lifeline.
It's backfiring horribly because while he's in the wheelchair, Angel's coming and banging Drusilla.
And giving her hearts and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And like he's just
if he just being
forced to watch.
If he had just eaten the Shih Tzu, then he probably would be healed by now.
Terrible.
So Buffy goes to sleep in her room, and we see Angel creeping outside the window as he does. And we see, I hate this so much. He comes into her bedroom. He like brushes her forehead with his hand. And also, can I just tell you that I did some sleuthing. I was looking at his hand. And you want to know I was looking at his hand? Because he's wearing that damn Irish clada ring. I don't know how to pronounce it. That ring.
He's wearing the ring.
He is wearing the ring. I looked up what this means because there, you know how it means different things depending on like which hand it's on and like which way it's facing, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, okay.
So he has the crown facing inward, and it is on his right hand, which means apparently, let's see, facing inward on his right hand, it means he's in a relationship. Okay. So maybe, I mean, I guess Angelus wasn't like turning that shit around once he lost a soul, but I'm just noting it, you know, because that's, to me, that Tom, that speaks a lot, because this isn't a Drululu thing. This is a Buffy specific thing. He gave her that same ring.
Yeah. I've actually never noticed that he was wearing that ring. I don't like zoom in on Angel's hand.
It just was very zoomed in on his hand, and I happened to see the ring, and I was like, oh, what's up with that? Which way are you facing, Angelus?
Yeah, that does track, because I don't think Angelus is in love with Buffy, but I do think he is
obsessed with her.
Yeah, she's mine.
It's same as Drululu, right, Sarah? Like, we're playing the same game where like he becomes obsessed with a girl, and then he like tortures her and kills her family, and is like, look, I love you, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, or turn
So,
you.
Yeah.
So that he can keep her. But
yeah, it's like very Casper, right? Can I keep you?
Can I keep you? No, you cannot, Casper, you pervy little ghost.
Yeah, cannot. Yeah, and so we hear the voiceover from Angelus. It speaks to us, guides us, passion rules us all, and we obey. What other choice do we have? And it's so freaking creepy. Like the idea that someone can just sneak in your window and watch you sleep and then leave you, albeit a very beautiful drawing, but creepy nonetheless. Buffy gets a little portrait of herself sleeping in charcoal.
This is really, really big because we have seen Joey Potter draw.
Yes.
We have seen Felicity draw, and
Yep.
we've seen Angelus draw. Angelus, that 200 years did something because his artistic abilities, high, much better than Felicity.
Totally
and Joey
agree.
Potter.
And we know he has to do it like in the dark, which is like also way more difficult.
And charcoal is a harder medium. It's very messy.
It is. He didn't spill chocolate milk on it. Thank God.
There's no smudges. He did a great job. Phenomenal. 10 out of 10. And the picture, Joyce, very good as well.
All of them looked really good.
All the drawings are really good.
Yeah. Does the fact that he can draw so well make him even creepier though? Like
no, drawers are sexy. It's not. It's the fact that he did it while she was sleeping and left it for her to find. That's creepy.
It makes it feel like he's just such a romantic guy.
Yeah.
That Angelus.
But Buffy's really upset by this, so she tells the Scoobies, and she's like, "Yeah, that means that he was in my room." And so they start talking about Sarah, exactly what we were asking last episode, which is, well, can you uninvite a vampire? And Giles says, so apparently this is very different than True Blood, where once you uninvite them, they get like ripped back out the door, and the door slams in their face. In this show, in this vampire lore, you have to do some sort of spell. Otherwise, they're always welcome in your house.
You have to do a spell. So it just seems as though anybody and everybody can do magic, which confuses me because...
Well, I mean, remember when I thought that Willow might become a witch? I mean, she did do a spell this episode.
That was such an original thought. I can't believe that you came up with it all on your own.
At least I didn't Google it to see if I was right about it.
You heard it from me, you stupid whore!
I did not!
Yes, you did!
I think I was the first one to guess that. I don't remember you saying that. Anyway, my favorite...
I actually know who's absolutely right. It's absolutely
oh, do you?
Sarah definitely said it first.
Oh, I don't remember that happening.
This is like the madness.
Didn't I guess that Willow was going to get powers, though?
Because you forgot it. You forgot that I told you.
Whatever.
Tom, this is like just like the madness that I live in. And like people wonder why, like, Sarah, like, you seem unhinged. Like, you're not as sweet of a girl as you used to be. It's because I'm being driven crazy. I'm being driven mad. Like,
I mean, we each have our things. I forget things. You spoil yourself on purpose. Who's to say which one is worse? Who's to say? But my favorite, Tom, is Cordelia's reaction, because she's like, oh my gosh, I invited him into my car. That means he can get in whenever he wants.
Yeah, I think she did that back in the episode where they found like dead women in the trash, right? Wasn't that in the dumpster where there were like dead women?
It was like season 1. It was definitely early on because she was like hitting on him, wasn't she?
Yeah,
it was before she knew he was a vampire.
Yeah, yeah. So Buffy had invited Angel in back in season 1. I think Cordelia invited him into her car. I think it's the dead women in the dumpster episode. And then Willow had invited Angel in back when Buffy's friend had shown up, and he got into Willow's room to be like, Willow, help me research this friend because I'm jealous and creepy.
I remember. Yes. Help me Google. Tell me, please.
Use your computer hacking to type in google.com.
Be the amazing techno-pagan that I know you'll become. Like, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought it was hilarious that Cordelia was very concerned about her car, so much so that she gave her car to her grandmother, and she's driving around like her grandparents' car now
with
like,
garlic all over it.
It's like, well, I guess we don't care about the olds. They're going to die soon anyway.
Yeah, they're on their way out anyway. And so Giles is going to research and see if he can find a spell. Meanwhile, 2 students walk into the library, one of which is Doyle, who we've seen a bunch by now. And
do not Google him, Sarah.
I'm not doing it. I'll literally blog Buffy the Vampire Slayer from my browser history or whatever. I don't know. I'm not doing anything. Okay, I'm an innocent.
Yeah, but
so anyway. But yeah, I love how all of them are like, ew, what are you doing here?
This is not a Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, get out, actually. And yeah, I love Cordelia questioning, like, why did he sneak in your room? Why didn't he just like slit your throat or strangle you or cut your heart out? Cordelia asking the great questions,
Well, because I think that's the big difference between Angel and Spike. Spike, when he showed up, he was like, I'm going to go fight Buffy right away, get right to the action. Well, Angel's like, I'm going to do a little creepy stalking, draw some pictures, kill some fish.
He likes to play with his food before he eats it.
Play with his food, or maybe it's kind of his foreplay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's sort of like the big difference between Spike and Angel. Angel likes his foreplay. Spike gets right to action. I think that's maybe like there was that episode where Angel was pre losing his soul was saying, "Oh, Drusilla, she likes to be teased," and I think that might be why like Drusilla's kind of favoring Angel at the moment.
Yeah, that tracks.
And also that Spike's in a wheelchair.
As the great Jen Lindley says, you have to lick the ice cream and not go in fully and bite it.
Yes.
If I know anything about sex, that's what I know.
Mm-hmm.
But what if like diving right in and biting it is like throwing the girl against the wall and like just getting right to it? Like, I feel like you've said that in the past that was your preference there.
When in Rome, when the time is right, some people like a little choking. And that's okay.
Moving on from that. Basically he's torturing Buffy, and now Buffy is concerned because the first thing he did when he tortured Drusilla was go after her family and kill them. And so Buffy's really nervous about her mom, and she wants to tell Joyce the truth. Finally, she wants to reveal the whole Vampire Slayer situation. Giles says, absolutely not. No, you can't. And Buffy's like, well, I have to tell her something. And I'm with Buffy here. I don't understand what the harm is in telling Joyce at this point. Like, the more information you have, the better off you are. And I feel like it would fix a lot of the turmoil that ends up happening between Buffy and Joyce. So I don't really understand, Sarah, why Giles is so poo-poo on this idea.
I don't really know either, besides the fact it's like we have to, the less people that know, the better, because then it just doesn't, because then she is more exposed, and that's, not a good thing. So
it's like you can tell Cordelia, who wasn't even a Scooby at the time, and Oz, who's like Willow's brand new boyfriend. I think you could tell a blood relative of the Slayer.
I totally agree. Like, I do think that we should tell her mom. I honestly, my hopes is that by season 3, Joyce will know, because I am a little fatigued of the whole Joyce questioning Buffy and her responsibilities, and Buffy having to tread around her mom. Like, it's kind of like going back to Batman. Like, I mean, Batman's parents are dead, but we certainly don't see like, Batman having to like hide from his parents, and his parents being like, Batman, what are you doing out so late at night? He goes, I'm not Batman, I'm Bruce Wayne. He's like, oh, it's out. You know what I mean? That didn't happen in all of my Batman watches that I've done.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't. I don't think that does happen. But yeah, this is like a superhero show thing that happens where they're like, I have to have my secret identity. And they spend like a couple seasons where people are just being really stupid, not realizing that the guy who runs really fast, but is clearly that one guy they know is the Flash. And then later they're like, oh, it was you all along. I should have known because it looked exactly like you.
Even Spider-Man's aunt finds out the truth eventually. Marissa Tomei is in the know.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And then she gets to date that like guy that looks like a thumb. And then that's really great.
What's his face?
Favreau,
I don't know.
right? I don't know.
Yeah, Jon Favreau.
Yeah. Okay.
But not the other Jon Favreau that is like the
football
writer.
guy?
The political commentator, podcaster guy.
We like him. Okay,
no,
yes.
we like him. Yeah,
we like him.
Save America. I listen.
Last name was Jon
Favreau.
Oh yes. Okay, then yes.
I listen to that podcast.
So do I.
Wow.
Anyway, so Giles, I don't understand because Buffy's like, well, what happens until you find the spell, Giles? And Giles basically gives her a non-answer of like, listen, Buffy, don't let him rile you up. Like, don't let him like. Angel is the guy who's doing the I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you, except he's about to kill her mom. And Giles is like, just ignore him. It'll be fine. If you ignore bullies, they just go away. I feel like this is categorically incorrect.
Yeah. Well, it's also going to turn out to be, he's going to turn out to be very hypocritical because Buffy's like, Giles, you don't understand. He's not hanging out in your room. And Giles is like, well, you can't be provoked. And then at the end of the episode, Angel hangs out in Giles' room and Giles gets provoked.
Yeah, he's real provoked.
It's on a rewatch. It's very ironic, the conversation they have at the beginning of the episode.
A little hypocritical. We go to Jenny's class, and this is fucking, I can't with this storyline. It's so fucking stupid. Jenny's going to be late to school the next day. So she asks Willow, a high school student, hey, do you mind subbing in for me for like 10 minutes? Ma'am, they make substitute teachers for this. What are you doing? Why?
I thought it was so cute to see Willow get so excited about like first getting really, really scared. Like this might be too much responsibility. Like what happens if this scenario happens? What happens if that scenario happens? And then her like transforming into like, can I give detention? Like, can I send somebody to the principal's office? Can I make them run laps? It was really cute. Like I really, really like Willow. Like I normally don't like the dorky characters, but I'm pretty obsessed with Willow and how Allison Hannigan, how she does her lines. Like everything is just so funny. It's just very her. Once again, just like following her. Like I watched all the American Pies. I watched her in How I Met Your Mother or How I Met Your Father. How I Met Your Mother. How I Met Your Mother.
I Met Your Mother.
This is like literally the third medium that I've watched this actress in, and it's like her most famous, maybe arguably. So it's just so funny to see her just be herself. Like it's just her. It's just her. Nobody else can play a character like this. It's just straight up her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's really good. And it is setting up that Jenny Calendar might not be able to continue to be a computer teacher. And there needs to be someone else to step up into the role of
techno-pagan
computer teacher.
Yeah. And we get a little reunion moment with Jenny and Giles because Giles needs some help because he needs to work on this spell to help Buffy. And Jenny says like, oh, here, I've been doing some reading. Here's a book that might help you. And like Jenny is trying to apologize here. Like I really liked this apology from her where she says that she was raised by the people that Angel hurt the most. And her duty to them was like, she was indoctrinated into this at birth. So she didn't come here looking to hurt anybody. And obviously she lied to him and she feels like she's apologetic about that. And then she admits that she fell in love with him.
I did like this scene. Okay, I need to like do some some work here, because as we all know, I've said some unkind words about Jenny.
You've called her a whore like at least 15
A
times.
skanky whore, I believe.
A skanky whore. Roll the tape.
Okay. I can understand and I can relate to the fact of being brought up in either culture or religion or something, and then as an adult unlearning those things. I'm thinking very specifically, I mean, honestly, and this is like a little serious, but like when I was in school, in Hebrew school, I went to Hebrew school, temple, blah, blah, blah. We literally learned it, like the concept of anti-Semitic and anti-Zionist at the same exact time. So in my mind, those two things were the same exact thing. As an adult, I am learning to unlearn that. And this is something that I was ingrained in my head since I was a little girl going to Hebrew school from like first grade onwards. I can relate and understand that Jenny was brought up with this belief that Angel and all vampires and everything under that are horrible, evil, terrible people. And that's all she knew. So she was given a task. It was to go to Sunnydale, and it was to make sure this curse stayed cursed. And on top of that, she was protecting herself and her family and everybody, and did not tell the truth. I can understand that. I really like this apology. I really like this explanation. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I am sorry for calling her a lying, skanky whore multiple times. But I did like this. And also I said a lot that I didn't think that she really liked Giles, and that's clearly untrue as well. And I just say, like, I have no problem saying that I'm wrong about stuff, and I am wrong about Jenny Calendar. She can kind of hang sometimes.
She's not gonna be hanging very much longer.
On behalf of Jenny, I will accept your apology. She can't accept it. She's dead, but
she can't accept it. She is dead, and I was sad that she died. Like
it was brutal the way they did it. Like we'll talk about it, but it was.
I did not cry when she died, but I did feel sadness.
Yeah.
And remorse.
Question for Jess, who was unspoiled. The music that is playing when Jenny and Giles are speaking, did it kind of give away that she was going to die this episode? Because on a rewatch, I went, ooh.
No, because I just wasn't expecting her to die. Like I expected, like if they were going to kill her off, I would have expected it to be like almost after the reconnection between them, which hadn't yet quite happened. So no, I wasn't expecting her to die, and certainly not in the manner in which she did die. Like we'll talk that through, but no, I wasn't expecting her to die at all. I didn't think she was going to be on the show forever, but I don't know. I also wasn't like theorizing about that either. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like, oh, who's going to die this season? But yeah, he thanks her for the book, and they seem to have somewhat, you know, he accepts her apology, and he says like, you really owe an apology to like someone else, whatever. But they seem to be on okay terms at this point. And
also, I love that Giles took Buffy's side, and he was like, if for us to be cool, you need to make things right with Buffy, because if you're not right with Buffy, then we probably can't be in a relationship, because I'm her watcher, and that's my priority.
Yeah. As the Spice Girls said, if you want to be my lover, you got to get with my friends. And that is something I take extremely seriously into adulthood.
I really wish you wouldn't. So Buffy and her mom are having dinner, and Buffy's kind of skirting around the truth. Like she's like telling some of the truth, but not all of the truth. So help me God. And she tells Joyce, like, oh, do you remember that guy, Angel? Like, we were kind of dating, and, you know, we're on again, off again. And she's like, he's been following me around and having, like, trouble letting go. Like, he's doing too much. He's kind of stalking me. But if he shows up, like, don't invite him in. I will deal with him. I do think, Sarah, if she's not allowed to tell Joyce everything that's going on, I think this is a smart way to approach the because what happens if Buffy does the spell to get Angel away and then he just gets reinvited back in by her mom? I think this is a smart way to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, and I think that it's very I don't know if it's relatable. I've never had to experience this, but I don't think that it's so out of the ordinary for like a parent to be protective of their child and be like, you know, this guy's a little creepy, you know, you want to stay away from him, no problem. Yeah. So I feel as though this was a good lie to tell if she had to lie.
Yeah.
I don't think she's even really lying, right? Tom, like she's mostly telling the truth here.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the whole Angel losing his soul and becoming Angelus is basically a metaphor for the situation Buffy is claiming is what happened. She was dating an older guy. Something happened, and he was originally really nice, and then he changed and got really possessive and really kind of creepy. Like I think that's a fairly relatable story. The non-vampire serial killing part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so Buffy and Willow are doing a little girl chat before bed. Not gonna lie, I did laugh at this part. It's so fucking sick. Willow finds an envelope. She's looking at her aquarium and she's like, "Hey, where are my fish?" And she has an envelope and she pulls out the fish that are on the string.
This was vile. It was so bad. But like, my question is, like, how is the envelope not soaked?
He dried them off.
Like, did he like put a little piece of glue on them, like patting them down?
He
Like
got her blow dryer.
And also, like, that was a very thin envelope. Like, I don't know how the fish fit in there. I have a lot of logistical questions about this. It was terrible.
I love it so much. And then Tom, next thing we see is Willow in Buffy's bedroom like, "Well, I'm glad I didn't get a puppy."
You're sick, Jessica.
I know. Well, because this is the second episode in a row we've had an allusion to Angel being a puppy murderer.
He is a puppy murderer. He hates puppies. Keep that fucking Shih Tzu away.
It's so fucked up.
It's also like it's another little minor thing. It's like it's I mean, I guess I don't think anyone cares that much about their fish. Like,
I mean,
I'm sorry.
They're fish. I don't know. I'm not a fish person. If you love your fish, I'm not. I'm not trying to like make light of this. It's just being on a string.
I love how Willow was like, yeah, like me and the fish didn't bond yet.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to bond, so it's fine.
It's okay.
But it's also Angel's way of being like, remember, I can get into Willow's room. Like I can.
Because he's been in there.
Yeah, and like it's basically an implied threat that he could kill Willow if he wanted to.
Moral of the story is never ever invite a vampire into your house.
I mean that's what Xander tries to say. Basically, Jess and Xander have the same advice.
Yeah, that was Xander's advice. He did say, "I told you so."
There's a moment later where Xander does an "I told you so," and I could have choked him through the television
because you hate "I told you so."
Because the way in which he does it.
It's okay to say you're wrong. It's okay, Jessica.
Anyway, so then we're at the warehouse. Of course, Spike's in his wheelchair. Drululu is like, "Here, eat this puppy. She's an orphan. Don't you want to eat this puppy? I need your sunshine."
Her mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the Shih Tzu that I keep referring to. I can spot a baby Shih Tzu from a mile away. I am 99.9% positive that dog was a Shih Tzu, also known as my favorite dog breed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And listen, if Spike had just eaten the puppy, he probably would be walking around by now.
No.
I mean, maybe if like the writers had figured out what to do with Spike for these 4 episodes, other than be in a wheelchair, he would be walking around by now. But yeah, maybe if he'd eaten the puppy. Sarah, how much is like Drusilla rising in your character rankings now that she has a Shih Tzu?
But she wants to eat it.
Drusilla very well might be my favorite character at the moment. I really, I love the way that she talks. I love how dramatic she is. I love her like random collapses on the floor that is just for, I love the fact that she gets all these presents. I love presents and she gets presents all the time. So Drew, and she has a Shih Tzu now. So she's on like the tippy top. If she's not, she's definitely top 3. She might be top 2. She might be top 1. I don't know. She's up there. I love her. I think that she's a great character. I think that she's a villain that I love to watch. She's very entertaining. She's crazy enough for me to just find extremely entertaining. And I love the cadence of her voice.
It's a lot of fun. She's there's some site that I was saying that where the episodes that she's in are like ranked higher than like other episodes on average, like per a character. Like she's got the best batting average for a character.
I can see it. I mean, she's just such like compelling television. Is this actress in anything else, Tom? I will not Google her.
I do not believe so. Okay. Well, I mean, she's in other stuff, but not nothing that I know of.
Nothing notable. She's a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, I mean, basically. And I believe she was cast first, and then James Marsters was cast, like, because he had chemistry with her.
Yeah, she's incredible. She's very entertaining. She does try to feed the dog to Spike. Spike does not want to eat a dog. He's no vegetarian as per Twilight rules. And then is this like, does Angelus come in and like fuck some shit up?
Yeah, he comes in and Spike is not having it with him. Like they're getting a little bit testy with each other. And then Drululu has like a vision as usual. She has her special powers.
She faints, just a little fainting.
The air, it worries. There's someone is trying to destroy their home, and we see who it is because Jenny is going into a tarot shop, and I really enjoyed the salesman who like puts on this accent for like tourists, but then once he realizes who she is, he's like, okay, don't worry about it, I got you. And she gets a very special ball, Tom.
The orb of Thesla, I think it's called.
Yeah, very shiny.
Yeah.
Orb of Thesla.
Which he says, and this may or may not be important, he has sold a couple of other copies, but just as paperweights. So there are a couple others out there, but just as paperweights. Somewhere.
I didn't hear that. Okay, so that is definitely leaving the door open for the floppy disk to be found and Angel to get his soul back. I wonder who has the paperweights. This was a very entertaining store. I would love to go to a little magic store. Did I ever tell you both about, I think I did because I brought Jessica there. Jessica, do you remember back?
The witches?
Yes. So
I do remember
back in New Jersey when I lived in Cranford, there was a store called Witch Baby. And Tom, what do you think that Witch Baby sold?
It sounds like probably some baby supplies, but with like a witch magic theme.
Kinda. Maybe. So this was a witch-owned business that sold soaps and bath products. And they did have some like crystals and like, I don't know, other witchy stuff. But they were like, they strictly said, we are witches. And I was like, okay. So, the witches sold their soaps. They still sell their soaps. You can, I think they have a website. Go buy from witchbaby.com.
Yeah. The magic shop will be a recurring location.
Ooh, that's fun.
I think they will eventually make the set a little bit bigger because it looked kind of small and they
expansion.
We love that. He's successful.
By the time it shows up again, Jess will forget I said that, but it will show up again.
But apparently this orb is like pretty much useless because the rituals of the undead were lost. and they need a translated text. And Jenny's like, don't worry, I'm a techno-pagan. I'm working on a computer thing and it's going to translate this onto a floppy disk. We're all set. And so the guy's like, okay, but no refunds. And I, the way sometimes you could just feel shows being like, and here is the information. Like, I forget what it's called, but here it is on a silver platter. He's like, oh, it's up for a present. It's a present for who? And he's like, what are you going to give them? She's like, his soul.
I loved it. I love how dramatic it was. And I loved how the orb glowed. And it was the perfect amount of kitsch. I just thought it was great.
It was very fun.
Yeah. So next morning at school, Buffy and Willow are talking about their little pajama party the night before. Xander makes a comment about taking photos because he's a perv. And I love Willow being very upset that Jenny was on time. She's like, oh, all that planning for nothing.
She says at 1.5 hours. I think she said 5 hours of prep. I don't know what she's doing for 5 hours. I think computer class is just like turn your computer on. It's the 90s, so probably just type a little bit and go to Google, and that's probably all you can do before your computer stalls out.
Yeah. And Buffy approaches Jenny, and she's such a great wing woman. She's like, listen, you're doing a great job. Like, keep being remorseful and all that stuff. Giles misses you. He won't say anything, but I know he does. And I feel like Sarah, she's extra sensitive because of the Angelus situation. She just went through a bad breakup. And so she doesn't want Jenny and Giles to be lonely. So she just wants to smush their faces together and be like, kiss, kiss.
I think that she really has admiration and respect for Giles. She doesn't want to see him sad. I think that she sees that Jenny is trying and she's not stone cold. Like she kind of, that was the olive branch. And I think that knowing what happens at the rest of the episode or throughout the rest of the episode, I like that there's this moment because it kind of like releases that tension between the two of them because Buffy's been cold shouldering Jenny for weeks now. So I thought that this was nice, especially with what's to come.
Yeah. And Tom, I have great news. Giles found a spell, and all it takes is just doing some rhymes, burning some moss, and sprinkle some holy water. And there you go. No more vampires in your house.
And you also do need to nail some crucifixes, which might be a little bit hard to explain to your very Jewish dad, but
that's true.
This was so funny. I loved what Willow's line where she was just like, yeah, like if my dad finds out, he's going to be so upset. I can't even watch the Peanuts Christmas in the house. I have to go to Xander's. It reminds me of my dad, who was like very strict about like he hated Christmas. So he, like anything that was like Christmas related, like wasn't allowed in the house. I remember there was one time that, you know how like schools had those like holiday fairs. I like saw like a pretty necklace and I was like, I really like this. And it was a cross. I had no idea what it meant at all, but I bought it and I was like so excited about it. My dad like made me return it. He was not happy. It were very much Willow's dad, like very much reminds me of my dad.
Maybe she could nail it behind her bed or something.
No,
or in
she
the
put
closet.
it behind the curtains. It's behind the curtains.
Right. Yes,
it's hidden.
So she did a good job. And Cordelia, I love how they had like Cordelia's like my car first. So they did Cordelia's car. They did Willow's room. But unfortunately, before they have time to go to Buffy's house, which honestly I feel like should have been the priority, but whatever. Buffy gets handed an envelope that was in Willow's room, and it's a drawing, a beautiful drawing, might I add, of Joyce. And so we're very concerned because Joyce is driving home and she bumps into none other than Angelus. And I'm gonna have a tiny, tiny gripe about television. No one ever comes home from the grocery store with one bag of groceries, and no one ever just has oranges thrown in there willy-nilly like that. This is wild.
Oh, yeah, but the scene where Angel sort of bumps and is like knocking the oranges around and is like just clearly just fucking with her, I thought was very entertaining. Were either of you at all worried that he might just kill Joyce here? Or,
I didn't think Joyce was going to die this episode. No, I was never worried for her.
Yeah, well, because instead he does something much, much more evil.
This is awful. This is awful. So Joyce is being a good parent here, and she's like, you need to leave my daughter alone. You're scaring her. She doesn't want to see you. And Angelus is like, no, I need to be with her. You can convince her. And oh my God, he says, you don't understand. I'll die without her. And then he says, I haven't been able to stop thinking of her since the night we made love.
It was so funny. I took a screenshot. I laughed. I loved it. Talk about the type of petty evil that I want to watch. This is it. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Monster.
Last season, we had the Master who was scary, and we're like, oh, he might kill Buffy. This season, we have Angelus, who I don't know if he could ever actually hurt Buffy physically, but he's going to fuck up her life.
So many ways, every single petty way you could think of. He's gonna be like, nah, I told your mom we fucked. She knows you're not a virgin. It is horrendous and hilarious and embarrassing and awful and just it's everything. It's perfect and I love it.
Yeah. But this is why people think he's the best villain, because he does such evil, twisted shit like this.
Yeah. I mean, unluckily for Buffy and Willow, they didn't stop him like 2 minutes earlier before he said this. But as soon as the door opens, they're like getting him out with the spell, and they close the door in his face. And yeah, unfortunately for Buffy, it didn't happen just slightly earlier, Sarah, so that her mom wouldn't know that, she doesn't have a hymen.
Oops.
Oops, lost my hymen.
Yeah.
No.
Did you enjoy the sex talk between Buffy and Joyce? The birds and the bees?
No, it actively upset me.
Yeah.
Because it was all shame based. It was all like, how could you do this? And like, it was very much like she didn't even ask Buffy, like, are you okay? How are you doing? It's only like, I can't believe that you fucked him. Not in those words.
Like, can you not? Did you see this man?
Yeah, no, I do think it's my take on it was a more of, how could you have had sex with this guy that you didn't even like tell me you were dating? I think it's more that like she hadn't told Joyce that she was even having a relationship. I think that was more about what she was upset with. I mean, a little bit of the shame and like, because she just had this interaction where clearly he's really messed up, and she's like, there's a little bit of judgment, but I think it was more about the not telling her, is at least my read on it.
Yeah, we'll get there. First, we got to get the little Giles and Jenny makeup scene. She's working on her little translation, and he's just like, listen, why don't you stop by my house later? And it's like, ooh, they're gonna do it.
Romantic date, going to rekindle the relationship.
Yes.
How nice. Cute. She's going to cook dinner. He's going to bring the wine. Is that what's happening?
Yeah. Then they're going to meet at his house.
Oh, they're meeting at his house?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that seems to be the plan.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Drew Lulu is like, I need to go to this tarot shop. I got shit to do, shit to fuck up,
With the dog in hand.
Of course. Got to bring sunshine everywhere.
Gotta bring the dog everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Jenny is a genius techno-pagan. She figures out the key to solving the translation situation. She prints it onto a floppy disk, as one does in the 90s. And she's really
gotta save your work. Gotta back up your data.
Gotta hack up your files, as it says on the door. That just cracked me up so much. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, listen, everything else gets destroyed. That floppy disk does survive. So
it
was a really
survive everything. Yeah. And so she's also printed it out on that really awful paper where you have to tear off the sides every time.
I can smell it. I love it.
Ugh. But unfortunately for her, there's Angelus just waiting around, and he is not happy. But what he loves about this orb is how fragile it is, and he just throws it at the wall and it shatters. And I'm like, she probably paid like $200 for that angel. That is rude.
We could have gotten like an orb case, some sort of protective barrier.
Protective sleeve.
Yeah, it's a real upset that it broke so easily.
Yeah.
And then he starts smashing computers. He's just smashing everything. Everything's broken. Everything's doomed. And it was scary times over here.
He rips the papers and he lights them on. It's interesting to me how a computer that is thrown on the ground just lights on fire.
Do you want to try it?
No, not
I
really.
Think you should try it.
That's just how things worked in the 90s, Jess. Computers, when they
catch on
as soon
fire.
as you smashed them on the ground, they just exploded into flame.
Yeah. And so they start running, and this like, whole scene is so wild, right? So she's running away from him. He's just kind of casually like jogging lightly after her. Really makes quick work of this. And out of nowhere, like midway through the episode, and the scene is really cool the way they shoot it, where they're like behind them is this huge window, and he catches her and he laughs, and then he just says like, "Sorry, Jenny, this is where you get off." And he snaps her neck.
Sick.
And she's dead. And I was astonished. And mostly because it's like, I don't feel like we often get a neck snap death for like a main character. You know what I mean? Usually that's for like the red shirts, is they're like 1, 2, boom, 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 done, you're dead, over. But Jenny's not a main character, like a recurring character, and she just gets her neck snapped.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty brutal. And she's not a main character, but she's definitely the biggest character death so far in the show. And I mean, Sarah thought she was going to die, but also Sarah might have been spoiled. So we're not sure if it was actually.
Did you know the manner in which she was going to die?
No, I didn't know who killed her either.
Oh, wow. So what was your reaction to the neck snap?
I mean, it was pretty brutal, right? Like it's just the fact. I mean, they cut away, and it's kind of like I had to rewatch it just to make sure that that's what happened, because there's no going back from that. It's not like you get stabbed, like maybe you like lay down and then like Giles comes and it's like, Jenny, and then you play the music. Jenny, don't
sorry,
go.
hold on.
Please, I love you. We were going to have a family together. Like everything was going to be beautiful. And then she goes like, Giles, I love you. I've never loved anybody like this before. You were going to watch your techno-pagan babies with me. Now it's all up to you and Willow, my predecessor. And then it just like would have been so dramatic as she just like bleeds out. But
that's what we've come to expect, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially it's wild that like, I don't know. I feel like generally vampires tend to kill people by like eating them, like biting them, not snapping their necks.
Yeah. Well,
it was malicious, right? Like he did it to be cruel.
Partially, I also think because if he had bitten her and like she had like, I don't know, tried to bite him and got some blood, she might have been turned into a vampire, and he wanted to make sure she was dead and there was no memory of that spell.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. Like the manner in which she dies, and God, we're not even to the worst of it yet. But we do get some relief here. We get a very, very funny scene between Willow and Giles, where he comes to pick up the book and ask how the ritual went and everything. And Willow divulges to Giles that like, oopsies, Angelus told Buffy's mom that she fucked him. And he's like, oh, well, maybe I should go and say something. And she's like, oh, okay. What are you going to say? Like, maybe you should try it on me. And he's just silent. And she just opens the door and he leaves.
Yeah. He also says, because this is the point where he says, oh, I need to go do my house too. I went through all the episodes. Whenever Giles let Angel into his house, that must have happened off screen. So this is the first
we never saw it.
Yeah.
Okay. I just took their word for it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he brings it up, so you it's a possibility when it happens. It's not like, oh, it's breaking the rules, because Giles is like, yeah, I'm gonna go do my house too. But yeah, he brings it up here, and it's just so funny. I love this as a tactic when someone is like, oh, I should go do this, and you just like, let's stop, let's play out how that conversation would go. Like you go up to Joyce and you say, what do you say, Giles, about Buffy having sex with Angel? Like what would be your line there, Giles? What well, yeah.
He just doesn't even say no. He doesn't have anything to say. And it's like, yes, Giles, you are her father figure, but like, I feel like we should draw the line somewhere. And, this is a good spot to put it, I think. And then, yeah, so then we get the Joyce and Buffy combo that I wasn't a huge fan of. It's like, it's just she asks like, oh, was he the first? No, I don't want to know. And Buffy says, yeah, like he was my first and only. And Joyce said, well, he's older than you. He's too old. He's obviously not stable. And then she says a line that I felt like was really just cold and kind of mean, was like, I just thought you would show more judgment. Like, I'm sorry, Joyce. Like, are you saying that like no one you've ever known has changed? Like, I don't know why we're holding Buffy to like such a high standard when we should be like, Angelus is the evil one here. Like, he is the bad guy. Like, shaming Buffy for not realizing that sooner is doing nothing but making Buffy feel worse. It's just, I mean, I like the question of, were you careful, right? Like, those sorts of questions are parental, and also like, she's caring for Buffy. But I feel like shaming Buffy and yelling at her for not telling her, like, you didn't even tell me you were dating him and blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, Sarah, this isn't going to make Buffy want to tell her mom more things. Like, you're just pushing her further away.
Yeah, absolutely not. I think that this is, I forget who I was talking to this about, but maybe it was you. It was during our Felicity podcast. Like, it's just like, there's this like power dynamic that I think that parents, especially like from the boomer generation, especially from the 90s, that there has to be some sort of like, I am your parent, I am superior to you, I know everything. And it's less of a dialogue between two humans and more of like barking orders at your child. And, we've had a lot of issues with Joyce and Joyce's parenting throughout these 2 seasons. And it continues to be frustrating, and it continues to just make me not like Joyce as a character. I'm hopeful that this is something that will change in the years to come. And I think a part of that is cluing Joyce in to what's happening. But it just doesn't work for me. And I feel like, I think that we need to have like, the parent, like the adults in the room. It just doesn't work.
But the thing is she only ever shows up to parent when she's scolding Buffy. It never feels like she's around to like give Buffy kudos or like be kind to her. It always feels like she's shaming her for something she's done. And given what Buffy's been through, I feel like she should not be lenient, but like be a little more understanding and try to understand her daughter rather than constantly judge everything she's done.
Yeah. It is tough. Honest truth is she's probably still the best parent on the show, which is
yikes.
Low bar. Because the other parents are only in like 1 episode, and the episodes they're in aren't good for them. I think Sarah's right. It's because Joyce doesn't know about the vampire slaying, which if you don't know about the vampire slaying, Buffy's kind of a mess right now.
Yeah, like what is Buffy doing? Like Buffy has no extracurricular activities. Buffy doesn't have a job. Like according to Joyce, it's just like I don't know. It's a mess, and I am just so hopeful that this is not going to be a season 3 issue. It's just
I hope Joyce finds out. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't imagine having another full season of this as well. Especially
because how many issues are going to happen where like she's involved or she's there and like there is like really we're suspending our disbelief that she's not onto something at this point.
Yeah. And I'm going to find it hard to believe that Joyce is going to have much to say when Buffy turns 18 in a year and a half. So, I don't think that this is going to be a long-term issue. So we'll see how it plays out.
But since we're on the topic of their sex talk, I do have a question.
Yeah.
This is sort of a crossover question.
Oh.
Because I've been on another podcast or will be on another podcast because their release schedule is different. So it's actually going to release after this one. One Indescribable podcast, which is currently doing Pushing Daisies.
Yes.
Where the romance in that show is that the two characters can't touch or the girl will die. So my question for you two, which I've asked the three over there, would you rather be in a situation where if your partner touches you, you die? Or be in a situation where if you have sex with your partner, they turn into a serial killer and go on a killing rampage?
Hilarious. Killing rampage.
Okay.
I'm going to take the first option. I'd rather
not touch my partner.
I would just end things with them. Like,
is that
otherwise you have a serial killer on your hands that's torturing you and your entire family.
I don't know. It seems pretty disastrous what Ned and Chuck have to go through.
They should just break up. It's very simple.
They're not
gonna. Chuck sucks anyway. We all know it.
Oh,
but he kind of sucks too. So maybe they.
Do you think if your significant other turned into a vampire, they would be more like Angel or Spike? Angelus or Spike?
My significant other?
Yeah.
Probably Spike.
I don't know. Will has the penchant to be very petty when he wants to be.
But also, I can see Will being like the silent, broody type.
Yeah, he's more silently broody than he is like outright.
And
yeah.
Adam's trolly as fuck. So
yes. Are we ready to move into some sad stuff? It's about to get sad up in here.
Yes.
Poor Giles. He comes home to a rose on his door. He's like very excited. He thinks he's gonna have a really romantic night with Jenny.
Some lingerie.
There's
black, lacy.
There's champagne. There's
opera music.
Like La Boheme, I guess. Is what it is. And he's calling out for her. He doesn't see her. But there's a piece of paper and it says upstairs. And like Angelus really set the scene. There's like candles on the stairway and like more
flowers.
Roses. This is so fucked up.
Weren't we talking about how he has like he just loves red roses?
Yes.
Like, he has one passion in life, and it's like I am going to grow the most red roses ever.
He has a
like,
florist on a speed dial.
Yeah,
he's always ready.
Yeah, I mean, this was very interestingly crafted. I wish we got like Giles being like, hoo, and then like do a little like strip tease as he goes upstairs.
Yeah, like he would have been like stripping clothes as he walked up the stairs.
He like goes and he's like butt out and Jenny's dead.
What if he was like, as he's going up the stairs, he has like some weird, like, you know, little like pet name for her. And he's like saying it as he like, oh, hey, pigeon. I don't know. Like he's going up the stairs.
That sounds like a Spike nickname for Drusilla, not a giant.
Yeah. And then he like goes upstairs and he's literally the only thing that he has on is his glasses and his tie.
Yeah, but that's not what happens.
No, that's not what happens.
No, he gets to the top of the stairs and Jenny's dead body is on his bed.
And the boner is gone.
Boner instant boner killer.
Yeah, never going to come back again, I think.
No, and he drops the wine and the glass is on the ground. And I have to say, I don't want to Google it because I'm afraid. What is the actor's name who plays Giles?
Anthony Stewart Head.
Thank you. His I felt like he did such a great job with like the way his just face just dropped in that moment when he realizes it's like she's dead on the bed. This was so heartbreaking. Like this scene, and there's one later that like just broke my heart. It wasn't so much Jenny dying, but like the character reactions to Jenny dying that really killed me. And Giles just looks like a shell when the police are like taking her body out. Like it's awful. I feel so bad for Giles.
Yeah. And he has to go in for questioning. It's very traumatic, all in all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you know he has this backstory as the Ripper, and he had all this like stuff going on when he was like a teenager, young, maybe early 20s, and then one of his friends dies, and he was like, oh crap, and he like got really into his watch and becoming like pretty repressed and like stuffy librarian, and then he meets Jenny, who's just starting to open him up, and then
she wants to go to monster truck rallies, you know, like she wants to have a fun time.
I think that was still a mistake, but yeah, I mean, different.
He loved it. He loved it.
She was introducing him to new things, and then she's dead, and
that is pretty sad.
Yeah.
It's so bad. It's so bad, and he wants to make a phone call, and I love when shows do this where they let a scene play out like silently or with just music. And this time we have Angelus doing like a voiceover talking about passion. And we see Buffy's reaction to hearing the news of Jenny's death. And she is just like immediately distraught, like slides on the wall, like into a sitting position. But I don't know. I think it was Willow's reaction that really broke my heart. Something about seeing Willow, who is just like the epitome of innocence, like be devastated by this news, especially because I feel like obviously Giles is like Willow's main mentor, but I feel like she really did respect Jenny and like enjoyed learning from her, and so like they were more connected in my mind. It was so sad.
Jenny was the computer teacher, and now Willow's going to become a computer teacher.
At least it's giving opportunity to the younger generation. Now Willow can be a full-time teacher and full-time student.
Yeah.
Grow in and develop her computer teaching abilities.
And this sick fuck Angelus, he is a peeping ass Tom. No offense, Tom. He's just peeking through the fucking window, like being a creep.
You could just say peeper, Jess. You could just say being a creep.
He's being a creep. He's being a major creep. And the worst part, Tom, is that little fucking smirk he gets across his face when he's watching and be so upset. I'm like, I was surprised he wasn't literally like jerking it in the bushes while watching, because he was like, he loved this so much.
If it was on a different network, he might have been. Definitely, that was definitely that sort of energy. I think because it's the WB, he's just gonna take a mental image and do that later.
Bank it later. Yeah. That's for his spank bank later. I am surprised.
Maybe like while he's with Drusilla, he'll be like thinking about it. That'll be like his mental image. Well, and then Spike just has to watch in the corner.
It's terrible.
It's pretty terrible. And so my question is, when you guys do character rankings, are you going to do Angel and Angelus separate? Or if you do this one, does Angel get...
I think we have to. They're different characters.
They're not different characters.
They are.
They're not. They're the
Angelus
same.
is leaps and bounds better.
Then I think that gives Angel like a bump up, in my opinion.
Angel's so boring without Angelus.
It's the same person. One and the same.
One has a soul, though. One doesn't.
I think that you're just rooting for the demon then.
I mean, yes, absolutely. I want Angelus to be Angelus forever. I don't ever want him to be Angel again.
He won't be. There's other globes.
Yeah, they gotta find them.
Yeah.
Or they find the floppy disk.
And we haven't heard his Irish accent yet. So.
Oh, I can't wait for that. That's
Top of the morning to you. Here's my globe.
Here's my globe.
You know what? I love potatoes and globes.
Yeah. I mean,
4-leaf globes.
I don't think it's too bad a spoiler. There will definitely be flashbacks, and you will hear that.
Yes. I can't wait.
It is very bad. It is like the accent equivalent of Oz's werewolf costume.
Oh no. Oh no.
if that tracks as
That's
indication.
horrifying to think about. Okay. Well, the Scoobies gather with Cordelia and all her garlic in her car. And they're like, we need to go to Giles because I'm worried about what he's going to do. They get to Giles' apartment, which is now empty. And Giles has all his best weapons in his house. I love this about Giles. Like, he just has like a chest filled with weapons at any moment in time. He's just ready to whip them out. This is great.
I mean, he's a professional demon fighter. Of course he's going to have weapons.
The good weapons. This is a suicide mission, in my opinion. He should not be going to fight Angelus alone, where he knows other vampires are, as in like Drew and Spike. It is a bad plan.
Of course it is, but he has passion and he needs to do it because he needs to just right the wrongs that were done to him. And I feel like the Jenny portrait is the weakest of them. It looks less like Jenny than the others look like the other characters.
It kind of looks more like Cordelia, in my opinion.
I feel like Jenny just, I don't mean this to sound mean. That's why I was laughing when I was saying it. I feel like Jenny just kind of has an average face. Like, it's just like, she doesn't stand out in a crowd.
No, I think that she has a unique look. I think that her eyes are, her eye shape is pretty unique.
Okay. I don't know. But the Scoobies arrive. They're like, uh-oh, like, we need to go to where Angelus, whatever. Because they know Giles is going to try to kill Angelus. And Xander's like, well, it's about time someone did. And this is where I truly...
Okay, but he has a point, Jess.
No. I am on the same page as him. Like, Angelus needs to die. However, when he says, I hated Angel long before you guys did, you hated him when he was Angel, not when he was Angelus. And he's like, and I deserve a medal for not saying I told you so. How about you fuck off? You're not helping anybody right now, Xander. You're just being a fucking douchebag.
I mean, but doesn't he have a point? He did. He was like, maybe we shouldn't be hanging around with this.
No, he hated Angel because he was
vampire.
jealous. He was jealous. That's why he hated Angel, not because he was a vampire or he was worried about people's safety. He was jealous.
Yeah, but just because he was jealous doesn't mean he wasn't right, though. It's still, maybe we shouldn't be dating the 200-year-old vampire, Buffy.
Well, yeah, because it's creepy, not because of the other reasons.
Yeah, I mean, but that's like, he's right. They're evil vampires, 200 years old.
It's just like the wrong time. You know what I mean? Like, I love a good I told you so, but this isn't the time, bro. Like, Jenny died, okay? We have, like, shit to do. We don't need you Xandering up the place.
Yeah, but also maybe Buffy needs a kick in the pants because, hey, a couple episodes ago, Buffy, you had Angel right there on the ground and you could have killed him and you didn't, and he's killed several people since then.
Oh, that's the plot device. That's not Buffy's fault. The plot needed, he had plot armor, you know? She couldn't just kill him. He's really protected by the plot armor.
But several people have died because of that.
A lot of people. And probably a lot of puppies, too.
And if Buffy had just listened to Xander, all those people would still be alive.
Yeah.
Sarah, are you on my side or Jess's? I think you have to take a side. You're staying out of the argument too much.
She looks like she
doesn't care.
I don't know if I have passion on this, but
passing on.
I think that, I mean, Xander was right in the fact that, like, we should not be inviting vampires in. The original issue he had with Angel was out of jealousy. So all of the above is true. The answer is everybody is right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you think Xander will ever like any of Buffy's boyfriends?
No.
You don't think there'll ever be like a guy that Buffy dates?
Himself. He'll like himself.
Throw down. Oh,
No.
so you still think Xander and Buffy will date at some point, Sarah?
I mean, I think that in the 8 seasons of the show, we will see a Xander and Buffy
At least they'll kiss. Yeah.
kiss at the very least. Yeah.
I agree with this. Yeah.
Once again, if I was Joss Whedon and I had a character that I have made after, or I see myself in a character, it would be my dream for my dream crush to like me and get with me. And if I was making a show, then I would make that happen to me. It's like when I made myself in The Sims. My
Mhm.
Sim self got the marriage, got the house, got the dream job, got the kids and the dog. You know what I mean? My Sim self was living the life that I could not have. And Joss Whedon can't get the good girl, the hot girl. I don't know if that's true, but can't get the hot girl.
I mean, Xander is also with Cordelia right now, who is extremely hot. Like, just
But
absolutely.
he doesn't appreciate her in the way she should be appreciated.
Cordelia is hot. However, Xander, there's still a little part of Xander that would probably wish that he still got to be with Buffy. And
Mhm.
I think that Joss Whedon's going to take his little Sim self and just plop him, and they're going to woo-hoo on repeat eventually.
okay. And will there be a Xander Willow relationship at any point, Jess?
Probably, but I really hope not. I don't know, because like I feel like Oz is like a long haul kind of guy. So I hope that not, but we have so many seasons, they're bound to break up at some point.
Nobody is going to be dating their high school boyfriend for the rest of their life.
I know, but Oz is great and I love him.
Oz is great and we do love him, but I mean, Seth Green has other shit to do, like star in 9 Austin Powers movies. So
Yeah.
he's going to be busy. Without a paddle, he has to get on that without a paddle set. It's imperative.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what he needs to do. So yeah, then Angelus shows back up at the warehouse. Spike is getting angry with him because he's like, stop playing around, like kill her already. Let's go, let's go. But they get interrupted by Giles being the coolest motherfucker around. He says, Molotov cocktail, bitches. And he comes in, he shoots a crossbow bolt into Angelus's shoulder. Then in the choreography, just like the way Giles does this, Ripper comes out. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He's like, I was a fucking badass in my past, bish. Comes in, he has a torch. He fucking one swoop just lights that son bitch up, does the wing, the fly around, woo! And then he just whacks Angelus in the face with it. And I love this. I love this, Tom. I don't really care for the kicky, punchy stuff, but I love this so much because Giles is getting that rage out. And we also get a very funny line from Spike of like, you cannot go into the ring unless he tags you. You have to wait to be let in. It was incredible.
Yeah, Spike's cool if Giles beats Angelus to death. Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. It's Giles gets the chance to beat on Angel. I mean, it is, Sarah said it is a suicide mission because he has the upper hand and managed to get in a few hits, but then Angel has the upper hand and he's about to die until Buffy steps in.
Yeah. Buffy saves the day and they're able to escape. The whole place is up in flames. They need a sprinkler system in the warehouse, to be honest.
Especially
with you.
because vampires are like, they'll succumb to fire. Like fire's dangerous to them. So
we need stop, drop, and roll is not good enough. We sincerely need some sprinklers. And this is this scene with Giles and Buffy is actually my favorite scene in the episode because I mean, the one part where I actually did start to shed a tear was when like Buffy breaks and it's just like, you can't leave me. Like, I need you. I can't do this without you. And it was so heart-wrenching. They're both hurting. I really loved this moment between them.
Yeah. I I love him, like, because he's told her so many times, like, you need this, you're special because you have this team behind you, right? And then as soon as he is like whipped up into a frenzy, he completely ignores his own advice. And he says, like, why are you here? This isn't your fight. And she punches him. She's just like very angry at him for like putting his life in jeopardy. And I love her saying, you can't leave me. I can't do this alone. Like, I've never felt the like father-daughter bond more than I did in this scene. And I don't know. I really appreciated this. They're both being very like vulnerable in this moment. And I don't know. I just love this so much, Tom.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think obviously the season is sort of built on the Buffy Angel love story breakup relationship, but the other main story of this season is the Buffy Giles father-daughter relationship that has been progressing. And like, I think the whole reason you learn about the Ripper and his backstory is so you understand like how much this means to him. That like you understand why he became so repressed, and you understand what it means that Jenny was able to open him up, and then you see him lose that, and he's so hurt, and yet you care about these characters so much and the relationship so much. And yeah, it's definitely the best part of the episode, in my opinion.
Yeah. And we get another voiceover from Angelus, who's basically saying like life without passion isn't worth living. Like, it's hollow, it's empty. And it's really sad watching Giles and Buffy at the gravesite for Jenny, because like, as he says, like in his years as a watcher, he's buried too many people. Like, like he must go through this so often, and it's painful every time, but it's way worse this time because he loved Jenny. And like you said, Tom, like he was a little blocked off and he let her in. And then obviously he got hurt when he felt like she betrayed him. But then they make up, and then this happens, and like they really didn't even get a chance to reconnect. And it's so sad, but I was really happy that Buffy was there with him. And Sarah, she says that she's finally ready to like kill Angelus.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think he's going anywhere, but I think we're ready to find a good old floppy that gets knocked in between a filing cabinet and the desk, and some orb that someone somewhere out there is using as a paperweight. I'm really excited to see. I think that this is going to be kind of like the rest of the season is like finding a way to cure Angel of this. And I think it's going to be like our end of season arc. Like, we're on episode 17 of 22, so we're nearly there. Like, we're like coming down to the end. Lots of exciting things happening, and I think we're going to see Angel by season 3 as well. If I had to guess, it's going to be resolved.
Yeah, got episode 17, a couple episodes, maybe one random fish episode, and then maybe a big finale.
Maybe someone will turn into a fish.
Maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Also, another question: will Giles ever have another love interest, or do you think this was it for love?
I think he will.
Yeah, I think so. There'll be somebody.
I think it'll be a while, but I do think there'll be someone.
More fish in the sea.
That will not be what Go Fish is about.
No? Okay.
It's devastating.
Well. Darn.
So that was our episode. That was Passion. We did get some feedback. We got an email from Linda. Hey, Sarah, Jess, and Tom. Here we are at the first time Buffy the Vampire Slayer completely ripped out my heart, tossed it in a blender, put it on the highest setting, and poured the remnants down the drain. Going from my heart being so full of joy when Jenny said, I didn't know I was going to fall in love with you, to my heart being completely shattered when Giles says, in my years as a watcher, I buried too many people. Jenny was the first I ever loved. My heart hurts so much for Giles with the way Angelus set up his apartment and laid out Jenny's body. The way Giles went from thinking he was about to have an amazing night with the woman he loves to finding her dead on his bed. It's been over 25 years and the scene still completely breaks me and makes me full on ugly sob. Giles and Jenny deserved better. Jenny deserved better. Sarah, you have been hitting me in the heart with daggers with all this Jenny hate. I really hope you can see now that Jenny died trying to give Angel his soul back. She never had any bad intentions with the Scoobies.
Yes, I do see that. And I see that this is a prejudice that predates herself, that has been going on from generations from within her family. And she was born believing that he was horrible and she was just doing what she was told. And I know that Jenny was genuinely trying. And at the end of the day, with one little floppy disk, she is going to save us all.
Yeah. I mean, and in fairness to her and her people, like, if she'd been successful in stopping Buffy and Angel from having sex, none of this horrible stuff would happen. Like,
that's true.
This season does have just one really big important message: is don't have sex ever.
That's true.
Or the person you have
Bad
sex
things
with
happen.
will turn into a serial killer and kill lots and lots of people.
And fish.
And the fish.
Linda continues, Jenny hate truly baffles me, to be honest. When you look at it, Jenny and Buffy are very similar. Buffy chosen for her generation to fight against vampires. Jenny chosen for her generation to watch over Angel to make sure he keeps his soul so one of the most heinous vampires to ever exist, Angelus, doesn't return. They both have to keep their identities hidden. I don't see people calling Buffy a lying skank for not telling people she's the Slayer or honoring her sacred duty. This is an over the years rant, not specifically pointed at you, Sarah.
It's a little of me. It's okay.
I could go on for hours about my love for Jenny and all the reasons she deserves so much better. This email is already getting long, so I'll stop here. One final thing before I go. The original plan was for Angelus to kill Oz. Oh. What? But the audience loved him so much, they switched it to Jenny. I wish we could have gotten more time with Jenny and Giles. It would have been so interesting to see how Oz's death would have affected Willow and Buffy's friendship.
I heard Spike, but I don't think I'd heard Oz, but that makes sense too. Like, they definitely wanted to kill someone. They wanted to raise the stakes.
No, we needed the stakes. Yeah, I've been saying
lots of stakes. They get plunged into vampires all the time.
Yeah. But yeah, this episode was a level up episode, I think, for the series. Like, they've killed someone pretty big. Like, they can do that now.
We'll kill your face.
And like, and I think starting with Innocence, the show has reached another level, and like, there's a reason season 3 especially is really loved, and the back half of season 2 are considered like top tier Buffy.
I feel like it was probably very surprising for episode 17, like I said, of 22, in a way mid-season episode, to have a substantial death like this probably was a big surprise too. You expect this sort of thing from a penultimate episode, or more likely a finale episode, but not an episode 17.
Linda finishes her email. P.S. Sarah, I still love you, even if you can't fully appreciate all of Jenny's awesomeness. Oh, and I will give you the calendar is dumb last name. I always assumed Uncle Enyos or another dumb older male elder came up with it.
It was the Calderosh tribe. Calendar sort of sounds like Calderosh.
Okay, I get it. Yes.
But calendar's just a word.
Yeah. I think that I was probably a little harsh on Jenny. I wanted clarification if techno-pagan was a real thing. I don't know if I ever really got that.
It is.
We never will.
It's just, instead of keeping their spells in spell books, they keep their spells on floppy disks.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like we got confirmation that techno-pagan is a thing because she took an old orb and translated stuff with a computer and then put it on a floppy disk. So you just kind of smush them together.
Okay. So that's confirmed. My next issue was that I didn't like the fact that she couldn't hang when she got possessed by the demon, but she, like we've talked about, she probably felt very guilty and weird because like Angel was the one that saved her,
Yeah.
and she always thought that Angel was horrible. So I think that if I do a rewatch of the season, maybe I would see Jenny differently.
Well, thank you, Linda, for your email. So Sarah caught some heat. I'm about to catch some heat in an email from Justin. So from your last episode, I had quite a bit I disagreed on. For one, your guest made it seem as if from the start, Buffy has taken her slaying job seriously, yet she spends the entire first season, along with half of this season, shirking her responsibilities. Hell, when Kendra showed up, her first idea was to quit and leave it all up to Kendra. It wasn't until her talk with Kendra after saving Angel that she began to take it more seriously. So then I would just say she's a teenager and she wants to be a teenager and she wants to have fun and go to parties and have a normal life and have a boyfriend. I don't really blame her for like not taking it seriously.
To be honest, if I was Buffy, I would quit. I'd be like, oh, somebody else can take my job. Okay, peace, bye.
Yeah.
In season 1, she sacrifices her life. Like, what more could she do? She took it like super seriously. She died.
Yeah. Also, our last guest was Lindy. Shout out to Lindy. We love you. So here's where I'm about to catch some strays. Next, I have to touch on the Xander slander. While I do agree that his character hasn't aged the best, and even at the time, early Xander was problematic. However, Xander had absolutely every reason to be mad at Cordelia in this episode, aka last episode. As for the reasoning behind the spell, Xander is a huge pushover. Do you really think he'd go through with what he said? Xander would have definitely made Cordelia love him again, but he wouldn't have what it took to break up with her to hurt her. Xander also comes through for not doing the easy thing and giving into Willow or Buffy. Oh, I mean, we're really going to give the guy props for not sleeping with women who didn't consent to having sex with him. I feel like that is like the lowest of low bars to cross.
Buffy gave him props for it. She was like, thanks.
Yeah, we called her on
Xander. That meant a lot to me.
Xander for not fucking me when I couldn't give consent. Even when Buffy shows up in the damn robe and is trying to seduce him, his first words there were for her not to take it off. Buffy herself even thanks him later. Yeah, I'm sure many of the other horny teenage guys at Sunnydale High would have caved and went at Buffy, especially half naked like that. And they suck. And they absolutely suck. I don't think we should be giving props to Xander for not doing it, for like not doing the sleaziest possible thing. Hell, we know Angel would have. Xander is the heart of the Scoobies. The heart of the Scoobies. I don't agree with that. I just really don't. Heart of Scoobies.
I mean, that might possibly mean something later in the series, but you'll forget about it by then.
I don't know that there's any. I mean, obviously, without Buffy, like the Scoobies aren't the Scoobies, but I don't know that there's any one person who is like the glue, in my opinion. And if there is, I feel like it's more Willow than it is Xander. But maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know.
I mean, it's Buffy's mission. They're all friends.
I was going to say it's Buffy.
Yeah. It is Buffy. Again, if you're choosing someone, it's Buffy. But the thing is like the reason that I really don't give Xander any credit is because, yes, Cordelia did a shitty thing. She breaks up with her boyfriend on Valentine's Day in a public place for reasons because she's no longer popular and wants to get back with her shitty friends. Yes, she did all of that, but Xander did a love spell on someone. Like, we're talking about like, okay, I put some salt on someone's sandwich and then the guy turns around and is like, I'm gonna poison your fucking sandwich. Like, there is a huge difference in what the two of them did. And I don't care if I don't think we can say conclusively Xander wouldn't have gone through with it because we didn't get to see that. We don't know what he would have done if he had done the spell correctly on Cordelia.
It's worse if he doesn't break up with her. Like,
yeah, she's just obsessed with him.
Like, the breaking up with her actually makes it a better plan than if he had cast a love spell and then wanted to be with
her forever, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get. Yeah. I do think Xander. I do think you can watch that episode and be on Xander's side up until he's like, well, speaking of blackmail, I'm about to black that. Like that's the turn where it's like, oh, Xander's now the bad guy of the episode, and then
And if we're giving him any credit, he knows he fucked up. And he calls himself a fool to Giles, right? Like, if we're going to give Xander any modicum of credit in that episode, I feel like that's where I give him some credit, is saying, like, I'm an idiot. Like, I did fuck up. And that's ownership over fuck ups, you know?
Yeah. I think the best defense of Xander for last episode is he's a teenage boy, and teenage boys all suck. And that's the best.
Fair.
That's the best he can do.
Yeah, this is fair. And then Justin continues about Angel, which brings me to Angel and Passion. Everyone wants to separate the two as if they're two completely different characters. This is so funny because we just had that argument. Are they, though? Might I present to you the very brooding, very boring stalker Angel, as opposed to the still somewhat brooding, mildly interesting stalker Angelus? Not really much has changed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like Angelus is much more like sadistic and cruel than Angel ever was. And Angel is super boring compared to Angelus, who is fascinating, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same
I also think he's I think he's much smarter. One thing I will say is in the episodes themselves, they are calling Angelus, he's just Angel, is what the characters are actually calling him.
Mm-hmm.
The fans kind of came up with Angelus. I think Spike had called him Angelus like a couple of times, and so that would kind of caught on with the fans. In Angel, there will be much more of a distinction. They'll be like, he's Angel or then he's Angelus. There's two difference. There may even be a scene where there's two of them on the... never mind. Minor spoiler there. But there is kind of a point that, like, they are kind of referring to him as one. And I do think, I mean, if assuming at some point maybe he gets his soul back, it is sort of like, okay, but what's it going to be like when Giles and Angel hang out from now on? And he's like, I got my soul back. All good, right? I don't know if Giles and Angel will ever necessarily be able to be best.
Yeah, this is when he spins off.
Probably. I mean, I do think that the thing is that, like, when Angel gets his soul back, he is still going to be paying for the things that he did while he was Angelus. Therefore, he's the same person. It's the same person.
I mean, whatever. I'll rank him as one. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, good.
I just have to, it's going to be hard to balance because he was Angel for a while and Angel sucks and he's boring. And then he turned into Angelus, who's much more interesting. And then Justin finishes, this episode also brings me to why I said I originally came back to hating Angelus. Sorry. You can mess with and stalk Buffy. You can. You can do it to Cordelia. You can. You can even do it to Xander. You definitely can. That was me. But you do not mess with my innocent angel of a woman in Willow. When I saw his quote unquote gift to Willow and what happens to Jenny, I was back to hating him with the fire of 1,000 suns.
Yeah. Big fish lover, Justin is.
Remember in Community when Britta had that line, we'll forgive racism, but I draw the line. What did she draw the line at?
I draw the line at, is it animal cruelty or something like that?
I would draw the line at animal cruelty and
yeah, it's like, excuse me?
Yeah.
I mean, Angelus, like, obviously we're not like rooting for him to kill everyone, but
it kind of sounded like you were, Jess, to be honest.
I'm rooting for him to stick around because I find him more fascinating than the schmoopy noopiness from between Angel and Buffy. But that's the feedback we have. Sarah, would you like to know the title of next week's episode?
Is it Fishtown, USA?
No, that's Go Fish, and that's not for a few more episodes.
Oh, okay.
This one is dumb.
It's called Is Dumb?
It's called Killed by Death, which, like, fucking Dedoy. If you're killed, you're dead.
Okay.
No. You don't understand. Killed by death.
So you're killed by death.
By, like, the Grim Reaper?
Ooh, the Grim Reaper would be fun to see. Should I make another bet on something? Because now that werewolves have happened, I feel like I need to bet on something else that's going to happen.
Okay.
Sure, yeah.
We've already had witches, so I can't do that one.
So you're going to guess in some sort of, you're just going to, in a show with 8 seasons, you're going to guess something supernatural
like
that's going to happen in the supernatural show. and then you're
Yeah.
going to give yourself a pat on the back, then 8 seasons.
No, I felt like it was very
Supernatural.
obvious that werewolves were eventually going to happen. I was
Okay.
just very excited when it did. I patted myself on the back when Oz was a werewolf, and I
Yeah.
said he would be because that was crazy.
Okay.
What
do you want
we
to
had,
say?
we had to tell you about it because you had forgotten by then that you said it would be
Well,
awesome.
because I said it very offhandedly.
Mhm.
Didn't say it like this is my prediction. No, I think I want to, because I would like to see, can I say there's a coven? Because I know we've seen witches, but
Mhm.
like I want to see like a horde of witches, not
Mhm.
just like one witch.
When can I get you to watch American Horror Story Coven?
I will not.
Why?
It's too scary.
It's not scary.
It's scary.
No, that one's the least scary season.
What?
Tom, is
Okay,
it
so
scary?
what? I don't watch American Horror Story.
Okay.
What is your qualification for what qualifies as a coven? And like, do they have to be a villain or can it be like a friendly coven?
Okay, this is a good question. A coven is 3 or more people that practice
Okay.
witchcraft together.
all right.
And what was your question? Can they be?
I
I
think
think
it
they
has
could.
to be, as per the craft, I think it has to be 4. Northeast, southwest.
What about Hocus Pocus? There are only 3 of them.
Well,
Was
they're
that
not
a
very
coven?
successful.
Was what? What did you say, Tom?
Was that a coven?
I think so. They're
just
witches.
sisters. They're
They're
just
sisters. They're
sisters.
sisters.
So
Okay,
3
so
or more?
three,
Okay.
3 or more people practicing magic together. I mean, I feel like they could do good magic. That's fine, but like more likely they're evil.
Yeah, but like they have to be focused on the magic. They can't be like focused on like having a bake sale or anything like that, raising money.
No. They have to be doing magic, and I would prefer if there's a cauldron.
Okay, cauldron.
I don't care
Alright.
about brooms. I do care about cauldrons.
Okay,
And that's where my prediction is. So we'll
you want to
see
do
how
another
that
one?
goes.
Because again, it's still kind of that's like an extension of your witch prediction. Do you want to do another?
Well, when we have a separate prediction,
Yeah,
I have to have more than one prediction going at the same time.
you don't have to, but I thought it would be fun to have another one.
Let me see. I would love if dinosaurs showed up at some point. I don't think that's going to
All right,
happen.
okay.
though.
I'm calling it. Tom, do you have anything to promote?
I do. So I recorded it yesterday, but I believe it'll be out on Saturday. Episode of One Indescribable Podcast talking about pushing daisies with Todd, Adam, and Lindy. Lindy is just miserable talking about that show. She's
I
just
love it.
so-
I don't want her to be miserable, but I love how much she hates it.
She's just so unhappy, and most of the episode was just us kind of giving Lindy some therapy about how continually depressed she was having to watch this show,
Mhm,
and how she
mhm.
was kind of slipping into the dark side and giving into like evil. So look forward to that on Saturday, I believe. One Indescribable Podcast.
Perfect. Jessica, do you have anything to share with the class?
Just talking shit. Go follow us over there. We do Schitt's Creek content, and we're loving season 2. So go check
Great.
it out.
Great. Check out Felicity. Check out Whirlwind Podcast, Shit 90s Pod, all that stuff. Anything else, Jessica?
No, that's it. Do
Okay.
you want me to end the podcast? Are you gonna? You want to say here endeth the lesson?
Here endeth the lesson.
Just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.